So, today's an exciting day. Why is it an exciting day? Because my big job for the day just cancelled, which means that I've got no other work on for the day. How fucking good. Such a rare day for me. So I've got two options. I can either relax or I can do something on one of my own cars or for the new business. I've been plugging away with the new business every kind of spare second I've had outside of doing other cars. So I reckon I'm gonna get the lib in the shed and do a bit more on the lib's turbo kit. So basically we've got the headers made, the up pipe and the down pipes tacked up. So I'm just gonna pull the lib into the shed, pull the stock headers off and mock it all up, and I'll get you with me again shortly. All right, so I've just pulled the lib in. I'm basically gonna take out the airbox and all of this stuff so we can get room to where our turbo sits. Basically, once we've got all this stuff, we'll put it up in the air and we'll take off the headers. I've just taken the airbox out and then all the way up to the intake box. So now we've got room for our lovely turbo setup. So I'm gonna put it up in the air, get the headers off, and I'll see you guys in a second. And we've got the headers off. So it's basically 5 bolts here, 2 bolts there. Depending on how you want to do it, you can go the 2 bolts here and then the 2 bolts there and separate them into 2 individual sides, or you can leave that part bolted to there and take it all off in one piece. Because I'm by myself and I'm already feeling very physically sore because I've been busy as hell doing very heavy jobs over the last week, I decided to do it in 2 pieces to make it a little bit easier on myself. Anyway, so we've got everything off that we need to get off. Now, let's go get the turbo kit. I'll place it all on the floor over there. You'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, so as you can see, headers are off. I've got the turbo kit in front of me, and I just want to say, full disclosure, this thing is not pretty. It's something that I hacked up in about a day and a half when I had a spare day, just like today. And so it is not pretty by any means. It is literally just been me getting scraps. So the goal for this build is $1,000 turbo kit, including tune, on the road, running, driving. So what that means is I've used scraps for pretty much everything I can. If you want to see pretty welding and pretty turbo kits, wait till we do the rotated setup for the STI, because we've got a brand new kind of set of headers that we'll be using for that. We've got a brand new turbo there that we'll be using. Well, that's all going to be brand new parts. This is purely a hack job, just to kind of like show what you can do with basically nothing, if you do a bit of research and kind of have a bit of an idea of what you're doing. So this is what we've got so far. So this is what it took me about a day and a half to get all this done. So we've got some headers made out of like steam pipe, up pipe made out of basic just scraps I had laying around, and again down pipe made out of scraps I had laying around. I may have to modify it a bit. I was kind of in such a hurry to, well, not such in a hurry, it was more like an emotional roller coaster. One of my best mates had just passed away, so yeah, I started doing this basically for him, and it was just something to keep my mind occupied. So this is what we're working with. As I said, goal of $1,000 turbo kit. So GD 3076, lovely little turbo. And then yeah, as I said, we've basically just reused flanges, all sorts of different bits and pieces, and made a few flanges where I needed to, like this one and that one, just out of bits and pieces I've had laying around. So we're going to do things a little bit differently to try and absolutely minimize costs. We've got a lot of second-hand parts. There's very few brand new parts. Realistically, the only brand new parts will be these here, you know, turbo oil feed, and I'll probably have to make a I think I've got a drain that would probably work, didn't I? I think I just needed to modify this one a little bit and I could make it work. So we've got the turbo feed that's brand new. This will be welded into the rocker cover for the turbo drain, so that's a brand new part. This is for the water feed and water return. So just going absolute as basic as we possibly can just to make it work. And then instead of O2 sensor bungs, we're going to use these. Now, obviously it'll take a bit more extra work. Have to grind them down, get all the coating and crap off of them, and all that jazz, but these were about less than $1 each, I reckon. So I was like, compared to the 20 bucks you pay for each O2 sensor bung, I've paid about $4 for all of them, or $6 for all of them. And I only actually need 2 of them because I'm gonna cut them in half because they're pretty large anyway. So that'll be where I get my O2 sensor bungs from. I'm literally just gonna be reusing gaskets with RTV. As I said, absolute budget as possible. So this is gonna be funny because the motor that I've put in this, I killed the motor in this one not too long ago, probably like 6 or 8 months ago. I was being silly in the wet, doing helis and basically starved the motor of oil. So I've swapped in like a lowish K one, it's got like 175 thou on it now. Like a lot of these motors, it's got timing chain rattle. So this is gonna be like a mad little experiment of like, how much will this thing be able to put up with before it goes pop? And that's just kind of like, for me, like a little bit of an experiment, because I'm genuinely interested to see how much shit it'll cop. Like, the other motor that was in there before this one had 100,000 Ks of me abusing it almost daily. And yeah, the thing that finally killed it was literally me being an absolute idiot. Like, if it survived, I would have been more impressed. Like, well, if it survived, it would have been a miracle. Like, no motor should survive that as a stock setup with no mods to keep it safe at all. Anyway, let's get back onto this. So, as I said, fuel budget spec, let's get it mocked up. All right, so we've got the turbo kit mocked up to kind of where it's up to, and it's looking reasonably good. As you can see, everything is a pretty goddamn tight fit. So we've got a little bit of room on the steering column, which you probably can't see from this angle, but we do. Everything's got a little bit of room the whole way around, which is awesome. I'm going to be relocating the brake booster line over to the other side to give myself just a little bit more clearance in this area for the turbo. And I've already modified the turbo drain to fit, which is cool. You might be able to just see it down there. So now I've got to work out exactly where in the rocker cover I'm going to be welding this little piece here for the turbo drain. That's one of the things I want to do today. I also want to get the O2 sensor bungs, quote unquote. They're not really O2 sensor bungs, but I want to get these cut in half, at least mocked up and tacked in place for where they're going to go. What else do I want to try and get done? I might try, once I've got that done, I might lengthen a bunch of the sensor wires that I've got to fit where they'll actually be going. What else? I mean, I can weld up the downpipe properly. There's tons of stuff that I can get done today, which is good. So basically, I am just going to get started. What I might do is chuck it up in the air, have a quick evaluation of what is going to be time best spent, and then get on to doing stuff. I'll be back with you in a second once I've figured out a plan of action.